Hello, how are you today? My name is Samuel Evander, and I want to welcome you to my YouTube channel. I'm here to give you insights around your career and how you can be able to become that manager, get that dream job, and yeah, of course, live financially well. So today, I just want to speak about how to answer the question of tell us about yourself. So this is a very common question for interviews. One of the things that I usually say is that before you go for any interview, at least prepare for this question because it will show up. I've not attended any interview in my life where they have not asked me this question. Now, surprising that it's a very common question across different organizations, but it doesn't mean that it has the same response for each of the organizations. Why? Because whenever somebody asks you, tell us about yourself, what should actually come to your mind is they want basically to tell them how you fit within the role that they're interviewing you for. So that is the kind of the election that you tell us about yourself response should actually take. So I usually encourage people. Of course, this is usually the first question for most interviews. Definitely, there are a few other interviews where they maybe the interviewers want to tweak things somehow, but this is the most common question after the interview panel has introduced itself. So and so. I hold this position, this organization. That round of they now give you the opportunity to say, "Oh, so introduce yourself. Tell us about yourself." So it also helps the interviewer, and this is from my experience as somebody who has sat on some interview panels, is to create that it's an icebreaker, something that creates room even for more questions. So one of the things that you need to do is that you need to really give this your best because if you don't answer this question rightly, given the fact it's a fast question, it can either be something that can really create the first can create a good first impression before the interviewers, or it is something that can really just make things really tough for you. Of course, the bad impression on the other side. So your confidence is very key. You need to calm down yourself, and one thing that you need to do to understand is that confidence is very key when it comes to interviews, and of course the verbal language, as the non-verbal language, as well as your verbal, your tone, how you're presenting that response is very important. So I usually encourage candidates, those that are being interviewed, to before you even get to the interview room, think about this question outside and say, if they ask me, tell us about yourself. I guess an example, I have applied for a job of an accountant at an organization, say MTN, and I know that MTN is a telecom company, and I know I've looked at the job description. I understand what exactly they are looking for. So they ask me, tell us about yourself. Um, Definitely, I say some of the things that I encourage you to say first. First, start with your name. For example, my name is Samuel Iwanda. That is the first introduction. And you go on to say, you now speak about your qualification. Education is very important to front it and say, I'm a certified public accountant. I also hold a bachelor's degree in business administration, as well as a master's in financial management. So that gives the education part. Now, after you've answered the education part, of course, in addition to, let's say, master's or bachelor's, you can also add on. I've also undertaken several trainings around the area of financial management, just to leave room for any other trainings that you have done, especially those that could be relevant. For example, if I'm applying for an analytics role, financial, maybe analytics and planning, I may want to also speak about, let's say, my qualification, let's say in financial modeling and valuation. or I'm speaking about Excel, data analytics. I want to bring in that aspect. So after I've said my education, my name is Samuel Ivanda. I'm a certified public accountant, and I also hold a bachelor's degree in commerce, as well as a master's in business administration. I've also undertaken several other trainings in the area of financial management, financial modeling, analytics, and artificial intelligence. Then, after you've spoken about your education, I want us now to move to now your experience, because we are hiring you not to give us your education, your theory, but we are so much interested in what after your education. What did you actually get? So it's now the experience element bit of it. So you're able to now get down to I am currently employed Uh, as an accountant in this organization. So you speak about the organization where you employed, and you can also be able to go on to also speak about, let's say, any other previous relevant organization. Sometimes the organization where you're working is not really relevant to the organization that you may be applying to. For example, if currently I'm applying to an NGO world, if since I have my experience previously in the NGO world, I may want to bring it out even before I go into the details. So me saying that my name is me saying that I'm currently employed, let's say, as a consultant with one of the big four audit firms. In additionally, I also was employed with Save the Children as a finance lead, as well as a finance manager in the same organizations. Then I'm able to say, from my previous experience, I've been able to undertake the following tasks: A, B, C, and D. And this is also similar to my current roles at this company, A, B, C, D. And so I'm able to bring in now. One of the things that when you've listed the organizations where you're working and your positions, of course, relevant organizations, leave out anything that's not relevant. Yours is to go and now be able to speak about, let's say, about roles that you actually four roles and responsibilities that you're actually performing at that role where you feel it's relevant. A case in example, if it's an accountant position, if I'm responding and I'm providing, being able to speak about, I'm an accountant in this organization ABCD. Maybe that's your only position. You've not held any other position. You're able to bring down and say, some of my day-to-day duties include bank reconciliation. I ensure that the bank statement is actually matching the cash book, well detecting any errors due to the bank, but also errors that could have been caused by the accountant. I also perform inventory management, where I lead on the stock take on a monthly basis to ensure that the stock that we have in the warehouse actually matches what we have into the system. I also have continually supported on the area of reporting, where I do prepare financial reports. This includes the statement of financial position, which depicts the position where the organization is in terms of the assets and liabilities. I also go on to prepare the statement of financial. Now bring in maybe the statement of comprehensive income, which looks at the financial performance of the organization in terms of revenue as well as the expenses. So you're able to go some of your duties. Now, for you to identify which duties you're going to speak about, let's say maybe four of them, you need to understand what is the job description of the job you're being interviewed for has, because the some of the duties that you're speaking about should really be at least within the job description that you're actually being interviewed for, because somebody wants to relate whatever you're able to present. Somebody is able wants to be able to relate the two things, to know that okay, the person whom we are interviewing right now actually has the right capabilities, because you're speaking about bank reconciliation and maybe it exists in the job description for the job they're interviewing you for. Maybe there's preparation of financial statements, maybe it also exists. Maybe you've spoken about inventory management, maybe it also exists. maybe you speak about lesser taxes and say maybe I also do prepare and file taxes on a monthly basis, and some of the taxes I do file include VAT, income tax, withholding tax. When I'm filing the taxes, I ensure that the right taxes are actually filed in the right process, but also review the documents to ensure that the right tax was actually deducted and computed. And this has also enabled us save a lot of money as a company, because previously, before I joined, the company used to face hefty fines due to non-compliance. So in addition to just these four roles and responsibilities, I encourage you as a candidate to also speak about the areas of what have you been able to do to change the transformation you've been able to really bring, and somebody else would call them achievements. Like you've seen the last statement, how I've ended and brought in the aspect of organization. So I'm now turning just the role that I'm giving, the responsibility that I'm doing is not just about what I'm doing, but it has a benefit that is able to bring. So that is very important. Now, after I've been able to speak about your education, your experience, I encourage you to also speak about your key skills. Say, my key skills include analytical skills. I'm able to look at data and I'm able to identify maybe inconsistencies. I'm able to do variance analysis, and this is usually so much, especially when I'm doing the financial reporting on a monthly basis. And maybe the other could say I've also continuously developed my interpersonal skills. I work well in teams and I'm able to deliver in maybe under pressure and so on. So you craft your message. Now I encourage you that for you to have a very good message, well planned out, is write it down before you actually get to the interview room, and do some rehearsals out of it. And like I said, your job description, because even when you get to the skills section, when you're telling us about you're good at analytical skills, you're good at interpersonal skills, usually a part of the job that is advertised, the recruiter will always include key skills that are relevant to that job. So even when you're giving your pitch, as you answering that question of tell us about yourself, you want to ensure that all these skills at least come out. Now, of course, you're not faking, and you need to make sure that whatever you're talking about, you can actually prove it, and you've actually maybe done it before. So that gives you a ground. Of course, the tell us about yourself is it's a comprehensive question, and sometimes you have enough time to be able to really bring that out. Some of the questions actually that they may have asked you can easily be answered within that. Sometimes for me, for my interviews, I usually speak myself out. I'm able to present until when I feel like I've been able to give my best case. And believe me, after I've given that case, the next questions are just to validate what has he has spoken about. Now, there is this mindset to think that the interviewers already have your CV, so you shouldn't really give in terms of details of what exactly you should be giving. One thing I want to tell you is that yes, they have your details on the CVs, but some of them may not have gone through. I've had cases where you're dragged into the interview room as an interviewer, maybe because one person has not really made it. So you're part of the panel and you're seeing this candidate for the very first time. It's the first time for you looking at their CV. One of the things that I also want to tell you is that the people that shortlist sometimes are not the people that are going to interview you. So the people that shortlist are people who have gotten to read through your CV in a much better way, so they understand it. But the person who is actually now interviewing you wants also to know the same thing. In the same way, not to forget, the information you're presenting is also being validated with what is on your CV. You're saying you have a master's in business administration, but your CV shows something different. Okay. So you need to understand that as you speak about, tell us about yourself, somebody is even opening your CV just to appreciate that what you're talking about is actually on your CV. So, in the same way, you're preparing for this question of tell us about yourself, just within your CV to just understand the did I really capture the right things? Is it what I'm going to present? And that will help you, my friend, that even as you respond to that question, you're well prepared and you have some level of confidence to be able to present your case. So I hope this is helpful to you. And I hope that your next interview, when it comes to the question of tell us about yourself, you'll get to the interview room well prepared and be able to present your best case. So thank you so much for watching this channel. And if this is your first time to watch this channel, I encourage you to subscribe the channel and also leave a comment to just tell me your thoughts about this question of tell us about yourself. But I also want to get more other questions that you want me to respond to or provide you with guidance. And I do believe that with this, we can be able to help many people get jobs, because what really pains me so much is for somebody to apply for jobs and jobs, and yet then they get this good chance of them being called for interviews. And you know what happens? This person goes to the interview room, they tell them, tell us about yourself, and then now they are starting to say, my name is so and so, I come from this village, I'm so much so, I'm married. So you see them spending a lot of time on personal information, private information, which is not relevant to the job. Yes, you can be able to speak about your personal information. A case in example, if the job say they want somebody of a given age, it wouldn't be bad for you to say, my name is Samuel Ivanda, I'm, let's say, 30 years old, and ABCD. If at all the age is a factor within the job that you're applying for. If not, leave it out unless you're asked to answer such maybe a question. The other things, like let's say married or your location where you come from. If the job is also maybe in a given location, a case in example, if a job is, let's say, in Kampala, the capital city, and that is where you also stay. Yeah, you can say I stay in this place in the city. So somebody is able to know that, okay, they're not going to incur extra costs on you when they employ you. So that could be. So only speak about that private information if it adds value to you. And of course, if there are some jobs in the same way they want to somebody who is a Christian or somebody who is a Muslim, if you think your religion could be able to speak more to yourself when you're trying to answer this question, to the kind of organization you're presenting your best case to, bring it out, okay? But if that has not been elaborated, don't spend a lot of time speak about your parents. I'm a son of so and so, I come from this village, I have these beliefs and so on. You're taking a lot of time, yet you should be speaking about your name, your education, because it's relevant to the job. You've spoken about your experience, your skills, and so on. And one of the things that I also usually want to end with, especially when this question of tell us about yourself, I usually end with a soft note, a soft point that speaks about my passion also for the organization. In case in example, if I was reapplying to an organization that maybe is working, maybe it's an NGO that is dealing with children, I'm able to end and say, with my above experience and education, I'm also very passionate about children. And I've gained this from my understanding as a parent, and why we need to ensure that our children are ABCD. So I'm able to bring in a softer note that can also help me be able to leverage and, yeah, break the ice before the panel. If I'm a Christian, it's an organization that's into Christianity, maybe like World Vision. But maybe I'll be able to end with a note and say, additionally to my qualifications and experience, I'm a devoted Christian, and the values that I draw from my Christian faith have enabled me to be a better accountant in terms of values, by ensuring that I uphold integrity and objectivity in whatever transaction I handle. So you can be able to bring in those, but ensure that in the time you've spoken about your education, your experience, your skills, and how they relate to the job. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope this has been of value. God bless you. And I pray, my prayer is that the next job comes after you and you'll be confident. Bye bye. And don't forget to subscribe. I love you.